burn the books, break the walls, and throw the child into the bounty of nature. You might have heard these famous words. Look at the handsome man on the screen. Who is he? Yes, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He was the person who told so. Burn the books, break the walls, and throw the child into the bounty of nature. He is considered as the greatest of all the naturalists the world has ever seen. The apostle of naturalism. Yes, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He wrote a book, Emily on Education, as an autobiography, in which he describes the life of his foster child Emily. He describes how he educates Emily through different stages. And the fifth chapter, the fifth and final chapter, he tells about the education given to Sophia, the imaginary wife of his foster child, Emily. Thus he tells about something new, just as you have seen the case of his quotation. Burn the books, break the walls, and throw the child into the bounty of nature. He was throwing Emily into the bounty of nature. If you look at Rousseau's educational system, it is called negative education. Why negative education? If there is something called negative education, there must be something called positive education. What is this positive education and negative education? Who differentiated education into positive and negative? Actually, the differentiation was not done by any man in a serious manner. Rousseau was put forth some ideas which were entirely against the so-called traditional formal educational system. Just as we have seen in the case of the quotation, burn the books. That means, according to Rousseau, there is no need for any textbook. And textbooks are the symbols of traditional formal education. Then he tells, break the walls. That means he tells that there is no need for any school, any educational institution for giving education to the children, but you have to throw the child into the bounty of nature. So he was against all the so-called traditional formal educational concepts. So his educational thoughts are known as negative education. So if you ask what is negative education, you can tell that Rousseau's educational concepts are known as negative education just because he was against the so-called symbols, signs, and concepts of traditional formal educational system. Then his concept of discipline through natural consequence was something revolutionary. According to Rousseau, you don't have to tell your students, do this one, don't do this one. Let them do anything. Let them decide their discipline on the basis of the after effects of their own action. And this is discipline through natural consequence. For example, if a child tries to touch a fire, a candle, don't tell him or her, don't touch. let him touch, let her touch, then he or she will experience the after effect of that touching. That means he or she will feel that his or her finger is burning. So let them decide whether they have to do something or whether they have not to do on the basis of the bitter experience of their own actions. And this is known as discipline through natural consequence. So discipline through natural consequence is the concept of freedom or the concept of discipline put forth by Rousseau, in which he tells that each and every person has to decide or determine his or her own discipline on the basis of the after effects of his or her own actions. So he was the apostle of freedom. According to him, you have to give complete freedom to your children. Only when you are giving complete freedom to your children, there will be natural development. According to Rousseau or the naturalists, education should be natural. Education can be considered as education only when the children are enjoying the opportunity for natural development without getting any sort of external pressure. So we have to provide complete freedom to the children for their natural development according to Rousseau. So there should not be any do's and don'ts. There should be discipline through natural consequence. And he introduced some child-centered methodologies. He introduced the method of direct experience. According to Rousseau, theoretical explanations are useless. The teachers are entering the classroom and giving some theoretical explanations. According to Rousseau, all these should be removed. So itself he taught, break the walls. There should be direct experience. Children should learn each and everything from their own direct experience, as we have seen in the case of touching the fire. They should learn everything from their own direct experience. Let them go to the nature. Let them observe. Let them experience. Let them touch. Let them do. Let them sing. Let them draw. Let them do each and everything. And let them learn everything from their own direct experience. And this is a contribution of Rousseau. Then learning by doing, according to Rousseau, instead of making them learn something by hearting the theories, let them learn everything by doing. If you teach them some scientific theories, instead of teaching such scientific theories inside the classroom, let them go to the laboratories and let them learn the theories by doing themselves. Then another thing is playway method. According to Rousseau, children like to play. And modern psychology tells that you can make children learn something only when they are interested. They are not interested in theoretical learning. They are not interested in by hearting. They are not interested in listening to the philosophies taught by the teacher. They are interested in play. And see, for example, if you are giving food to your children, you can make this experiment. If you are making them sit on the chair and if you are offering the food, sometimes they may not be interested in accepting the food and they will never eat and drink. But when they are playing, if you just approach them with the food and water, then they will take the food because they are interested in playing. And when they are playing, if you are giving some food, they will be taking the food. Similarly, instead of teaching them something inside the classroom by using lecture method or some discussion and such things, just let them play, and when they are playing you can teach something. And this is what is happening in the kindergarten schools. Students are learning something by playing, singing, dancing and such things. So these are the contributions of some of the contributions of Jean-Jacques Rousseau to the modern child-centered education.